Hey everyone, Dr. Eric here from Med Better Health. I want to share with you a conversation I had yesterday with a caregiver. I was speaking to a caregiver on the phone, and we were talking about respite. Now, many of you may not know, but respite means you, the caregiver, getting relief, right? Because you're taking care of mom, you're taking care of grandpa. I know my mom and dad, they're taking care of my grandma who's 93 years old, and it's a lot of work. And she was sharing with me, she's saying, you know what, Dr. Eric, I tried respite. I had a private duty home care company come in, and thank you so much, Dr. Eric, because of your guide model program, I didn't have to pay for it, right? Medicare paid for it. And if you're interested in learning more about the guide model, you can click on our QR code on our website or on the description below. But that being said, she said, I tried getting respite, and there was a private duty caregiver who came in, a direct worker who came in, and my mom, she wouldn't have it. She was just so agitated. She was aggressive. And I was like only an hour out of the 4 hours that I was planning to have some respite and relief, and I had to be called back. So I don't think I'm going to be, I don't think I'm going to be using it. To be honest, Dr. Eric, I feel like I'm in jail. I feel like I can't get out because anytime I come out, my mom can't handle being with anybody else. I want you to think about that. As you're listening to this, does that sound familiar? Does that sound like something that you who's listening to this are going through? And I'll share with you a little bit about my conversation with this caregiver. I said to her, well, look, the first things first. You should never feel like you can't come out or you have to be in quote-unquote jail, right? Never. The first thing you have to figure out is the direct worker, the home health aide who came in, were they skilled in dementia? Did they understand how to approach and speak to a person living with dementia who will have behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia? Because if you have just anyone who comes in and they're either coming in scrubs, or they're coming in all upset with their face being all mean, or they're using certain physical or vocal cues that are making the person living with dementia afraid or stressed or anxious, obviously that's not the right fit. So the first thing I recommended was I said, look, when you're working with a private duty home care agency, make sure the people who they send are trained. And well, how do you train them? First of all, you interview the private duty home care. Now, we have over 70 partners who are incredible. And one of the things our partners actually do, and I heard this yesterday, was, and I highly recommend you do that, if you go to right over here, it's Straight Talk with Dr. Eric, and you could see the link in the description. It's actually our YouTube page where I talk about how to engage with persons living with dementia so that you can train who? The direct worker who's going to come in. That was one thing that I recommended. And she said, you know what, Dr. Eric, thank you. I will actually do that. You're right. They weren't trained. They didn't know what they were doing. And probably that's why I had to be called back. Right? It's like a surgeon who's doing surgery and he says, all right, you're the resident, you can take over. But then when the surgeon leaves, the resident doesn't know how to do the surgery. Obviously, the surgeon's going to have to come back. Right? So that was one recommendation I gave. The second recommendation I gave to this caregiver was, I said, look, sometimes you're going to have to understand your mom, because she has dementia and she has behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia, right? She's always going to want you to be there. But that's not reality, right? You can't say, I'm going to be there 24/7. That's not healthy for you. For example, in the state of Florida, 66% of caregivers, 66% of caregivers, they have chronic conditions. And around 28% of caregivers, they have depression. And that's only what's reported. So you can't, you know, when you're traveling on an airplane, right? You think about this example. I always say it's a really important example. When you're traveling on an airplane and there's turbulence, and the masks fall down, and you have a little kid with you, your 6-year-old son, who do they say to put the mask on first? Do they say to put the mask on your son first, which is your natural instinct, right? Or do they say put the mask on yourself first? Who knows the answer? Comment below. Comment below what the real answer is, and I'll tell you. Ready? 3, 2, 1. You put the mask on yourself first. Why? Because if you don't put the oxygen on yourself, you're going to be out of it, and you won't be able to put the mask on your son or your loved one to save them. The same example is true for dementia and you, the caregiver. If you don't put on the mask on first for yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of your loved one, your person living with dementia. So my advice to this caregiver was, I know your mom says she can't be alone and you're not going to leave your mom alone, but you feel like you're the only one who could always be there. No. You get the right person to be in the right seat, doing the right thing, right? The right direct care worker from a private duty home care being there, who's trained, who knows how to, hi, how are you, Mrs. Smith, who knows how to smile, who points to pictures, who puts her favorite song out, who dances a little bit with a smile, and believe me, you'll have the respite that you need and the relief that you need. And speaking about respite, I want you to know there are options available. I want you to either click on and scan the QR code over here. I want you to go to the website or click on the link in the description where there's a quick 5-minute video where we talk about this new Medicare covered program for Med Better Health and Medicare called the Guide Model. I'm telling you, you gotta go and check it out right now because it's gonna be the difference between you being free and feeling incredible or feeling like you're alone. And I want you to be free and incredible. I'll talk to you in the next video.